Joined now by Congressman Bill Pascrell of New Jersey. Congressman, good to have you with us tonight.
Always good to be here, Ed.
The big trender is Paul Ryan. He is considered the numbers guy, and he has been relatively quiet and kind of in the backdrop of all of this. But now he has stepped forward, and he has made some comments when it comes to abortion and what the deal should actually involve. Is he just beholden to the social conservatives?
Well, yeah, I think he's looking at 2016 and the presidential race, as a lot of these folks are. They have every right to do that. The problem here is that we're talking about the debt limit, which is going to go into effect in a few days, and we're talking about opening up the government. And, of course, they're going to try every string to attach it to whatever we pass. I'm glad that Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell are stepping up to the trying to put a package together, not complicated, something that'll take us into 2014, that'll be sensible and that we can have bipartisan support with. And you know what? I feel badly for John Boehner. He's not a bad person. I happen to like him. But John's missed it. I mean, he let these guys and gals get away with everything since 2011, and now he's paying the price. So we're going to have to bail him out, too.
Well, Congressman, why would the Democrats agree to something that Mitch McConnell would put his name to after what he has done to President Obama? Why would the Democrats say that all of a sudden Mitch McConnell's an honest broker and give Boehner that opportunity when the public is clearly with the Democrats right now? You have all the cards.
The public is clearly with us, but we got to get a resolution of the problem, Ed, and you know that just as well as I do. And even whether it comes from Mitch McConnell and whether it comes from Mr. Boehner, as long as we can do that and not simply talk about saving face, but standing on our principles. The president, and is supported by the Democrats in both the Senate and the House, is not going to negotiate the debt deal, and he's not going to negotiate whether we have a budget or not. We need these things. These are necessities. Then we could debate later on. We're not backing off that principle, Ed, by any stretch of the imagination.
So what kind of deal are we talking about here? And what kind of numbers are we talking about?
We're talking about a deal that'll bring us to January, both on the debt and the continuing resolution, which will be in the number which the Republicans have pushed, which we compromised on, which is the lower deal. Which includes sequestration between now and then, with negotiable parts of that within the next 4 or 5 months. That's something we can begin to live with as long as we can open up this government again and never and not agree that sequestration is going to be a game over the next 2 years.
Well, you know, Congressman, this, as I see it, and I respect your take in a big way. You and I have had some good conversations on the radio over this.
Yes.
If the Democrats do this, this opens the door for a fight on the left, because obviously we're going to be pushing Democrats to hold the line on the big three and not take the cuts in the food stamps, not take the cuts to the social programs, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And this buys the Republicans more time to look like they are negotiators in good faith. They are not. They want this president out at all cost.
Yeah, I watched those clips from yesterday. They were an absolute disgrace with the sign in the background, impeach the president. He just got elected, you fools. You don't know the time of the day. And thank God you have nothing to do with the negotiations. We'll leave that to reasonable people in both parties. And I'm telling you, Ed, if we can live with this sequestration for a few more months, change it, because many Republicans do, including Chairman Rogers. He wants to change it. He knows it can't work when you're cutting right across the bow and you're cutting everything the same. Doesn't make any sense.
Well,
but in order for us to get a deal, a clean deal, Ed, we may have to swallow something now, as we did with the number that we're agreeing on, which is less than $1 trillion.
This is no.
We have cut the deficit in half.
Absolutely.
This president.
Absolutely.
We have cut the deficit in half, and they won't agree to it. They're not going to look. They're not going to give him a pat on the back, the president, for anything. It doesn't matter what it is, Ed. And you and I are going to talk to her blue in the face. It ain't going to work. Well, so what we need to do is reconcile our differences by Thursday.
Here's the best place, in my opinion, for the Democrats. There's this thing called the continuing resolution that passed in the Senate. Boehner has to bring it for.
He won't do it.
Okay, then we default. I mean, it's on them, it's on their party, and this is the way it is. I hate to look at it that way, but this is because this means that they're going to be able to come back to this point again and again, and do the default, do the shutdown to get what they want, to piecemeal it right back, and slowly try to get the American people on their side.
Knowing what he's dealing with, I think he should have known from the very beginning that there are certain members of his party that are never going to agree on anything.
Yeah.
Because if you give them one thing, it's not enough to go to the next thing. This is performance over the last 2.5 years. I'm not making this stuff up. Look at the record.
No, that's true. Mitch McConnell, not an honest broker, not on a record number of filibusters and all of his stated goals politically. Congressman, great to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure, Ed.
Thank you, sir. Coming up.